Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome back again. Namaste. Blessings and peace always be with you. So, in this video, we're going to go into the whole way of reprogramming your mind. So, what happens with most of us, as you already know, you might be someone struggling with old habits, old patterns, and old just ways of thinking. Things that are so engraved into you that you don't possibly even know that there's something different or there's a different way of doing something. And even if you do notice or realize that there is a different way of doing something or thinking about how life is, you might still resist for that change. Your body and your mind is so physically and mentally and emotionally kind of, it's kind of like when you break in some shoes. You mold the soles of your shoes to the pattern of your feet. That is like the best way I can explain it. So when you try to reprogram your life and reprogram the way you look at things, that mold, when you try to like step into that old mold, it's gonna feel uncomfortable. Your feet ain't gonna match the soles anymore. It's gonna feel obviously very uncomfortable. And that's where most people tend to give up. That's where most people tend to not really want to dedicate and devote their selves to their new way of living, even though they may know that the old habits may be bad for them. They may be even taking away from their quality of life, taking away from their happiness, taking away from truly living the life they want to live and being free and happy. And they know it. And that's hard. That's very hard for a lot of people to break free. So, how do we reprogram your mind? How do we first off even step into the new way of just allowing yourself to change? And the simplest way, the very simplest way, and first off, let me tell you, you have muscle memory. So your body, your muscles, you could even say your willpower is so used to one way that changing it is gonna feel counterintuitive. You are gonna go through some dark phases, some, you can call it like purging, or you can call it just, detoxing. And it doesn't just have to be like a dietary physical detox. There's detox of the mind, there's detox of patterns of how you think, there's detox of habits. When you constantly impulse to do something naturally, there's a sense of detaching yourself and holding still and holding yourself in discipline so that you do not act on those old habits. So you have to acknowledge this, and it's very important to acknowledge it, because once you acknowledge it, then you in a way kind of accept that that's gonna happen. You're not gonna just try to, you know, detach yourself from your old habits and, hopefully think that, oh, they're just gonna go away because now I'm just trying to detach myself from them. They will in time, but in the beginning, there is gonna be a sense of like resistance and however that may come. It might not come strong. Some days might be stronger. Some days might feel like you can't. But the simple acknowledgement that is there is enough for you to just remain observing of it. So that is the most important and most crucial part, where you're able to just observe when the discomfort comes, when you're able to just acknowledge that you are, in a way, really being challenged. Because as you begin to acknowledge it, the magic is happening already. You are already distant from it. See, there is the experience and there's the experiencer. Most of the times, we are just the experience. When we're lost in these habits and these old programs, we're lost in the experience of them. So it's kind of like we're unconsciously doing them. But when you become conscious that you're doing them, you kind of leverage the you leverage the space between you and that experience. So now you become the experiencer. And as the experiencer, you will realize that you have a lot more power, that you have a lot more strength, that there is something deeper in you that can just stay still and observe, stay present without any need to react, without any need to do or be or any of that sort of stuff. And as you strengthen the experiencer, the observing conscious awareness that is present, you actually diminish the habit. You diminish the old program. And in this way, you're not really programming yourself to anything better. You are, in a way, taking away all programs. So you're not really, in reality, reprogramming yourself. You're just literally wiping your hard drive clean of any programs, so that the true being who you truly are, your true spirit self that is here, is not bound by any condition, is not bound by any new liking or any new ability. You are infinite in your way of expressing yourself. You're free from conditions and free from programs and free from any old habits. You're free from habits, because programs and habits are only, and remember this, only embodied by the personal ego self, by the personal identification of the persona that you think you are, or the program that you identify as, this individual character in this human experience. And what we are doing is getting rid of it all completely. Because if you don't do this, see, this is another great point. Most people think they can just reprogram themselves to just be healthier, to just be more spiritual, to just, be everything that is going to be more happier. They think they can reprogram themselves. And in a way, to the mind that is currently activated, it's going to sound like it's a lot better. It's going to sound like, oh yes, I'm going to be healthier. Oh yes, I'm going to be happier, and such things. I'm just going to be full of, back to my happiness. But it all comes with strings attached. Every program, every habit, even though it's better than the last one, is still met by certain conditions. and it's not truly and ultimately free. So it is best to just wipe them all completely. And I know it might even be harder. It might even be much harder for some people. But it is only hard because the resistance to not wanting to let go, the resistance to still wanting to play the identified personal self. Because in this world, that's how people communicate. People communicate from the space of separation. People communicate from the spaces of me, you're you, and we gotta stay separate, and we gotta keep this, way of communicating. And most people don't know how to let go of the personal self and identified self and communicate from the open heart. But that is the ultimate true happiness right there. That is where you truly, truly, truly gonna shine and be your healthiest and be your most happy, vibrant self, where you're constantly radiating joy, where you're not conditioned to anything to just feel happy, where you're not in any shape or form have any expectations that have to be met before you can truly allow yourself to be free. You can truly just be. You can truly just be. And you realize that, oh, the only reason I haven't been being me is because I'm afraid of what people are going to think. That program, see, that's a program. That is a habit. That is the same thing we're talking about that we started of how this video of how to reprogram yourself so that you're not bound by anything. And ultimately, in the end, you can truly, truly be happy. And everybody knows this in their heart. Truth defends itself like a lion. It doesn't need to be it doesn't need to be defended. Truth is its own defense. And it's everybody feels it in their heart how things should be, how they should be, how the world should be, and everybody in the end holds back. They resist because they don't want to be the only one shining too much. Although they want to be shining, they don't want to do it alone. And that's the tricky part of this world that we're living, that no one wants to be the only one doing any one thing, even if they're the one that are happy, which is kind of bizarre. And even though they may say they want to be happy and not care about what the world thinks and all these things, they still deep down inside will not allow themselves to liberate themselves. I see it all the time. We all see it all the time. And, sometimes some people do tap into those moments of, I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm truly free, and they will be truly free. But then eventually it won't last for long. They will come back to their, program that makes them feel like they're safe and secure. But it's just their comfort zone. It's just their comfort bubble that they're able to create so that they can, ground themselves in that little space. But I'm telling you, you can ground yourself in the infinite space of life. You can ground yourself in the grand love of God and Mother Earth and everything. And I know it may seem to some people very hippie like or very like, oh no, that requires, for me to really change everything and live a spiritual life and this, and I'm not ready for that. I still love my cigarettes. I still love my, my beers. I still love my, you get the point. And, there's no judgment. There's no judgment to any of that. Things are what they are. And I'm just giving you another option to be what you are, to be what you truly are, and to be what you truly are forever, with no conditions, with no limitations. And you know, there's people here waiting for you to do that, so that as you open your heart and you truly let yourself be, there's other people waiting to connect with you at that frequency, at that wavelength, at that level of consciousness. And if we all do it, well, guess what happens? The gas prices that you worry about, the rent, the money, all these things are illusions. They're just illusions of how we've separated ourselves, and we've created businesses and finances to leverage our own security, our own personal, separate from everybody's life security. And that's what you have to be willing to give up. You have to be willing to give up the mind's sense of security versus true security, versus true abundance. Not the abundance you may think you can create financially. I'm talking about abundance that you can create energetically, abundance that you can create from within outwards. And without getting too much into that, I will leave it at that. So, all in a nutshell, just when those habits and old programs come, you have to be willing to separate yourself from them. And how you do it is simply by observing them, simply by remaining still, by not acting them. And they lose control over you, they lose leverage over you, they lose, all their ability to pull you and gravitate you to them. And just remain present, just remain still, just remain, when you start to have that craving, just observe that craving. You remember, you are not this body. You don't have to listen to everything this body craves, whether it's sugar, whether it's alcohol, whether it's sex, whether it's, whatever. You don't have to have any of that, no matter how great you may think it may feel. No matter, if you want to transcend that, you have to sit with it, and you have to go through that point of uncomfortableness. And once you accept that, go through that, then and you're able to release it and let it go, oh, see, I didn't need that. Then you come back to a relaxed state. Now you gain strength. Now you gain leverage over your habit. Now you gain leverage over your old program. And slowly, your new muscle memory, your new footprint starts to mold into the way that you are truly are changing to. The new mold truly starts to be molded, and eventually it becomes more comfortable. Eventually it does fit your feet that you walk, and eventually it becomes normal, and you celebrate all your work you've done. And you don't celebrate a one-timer, you celebrate every day, you being you now. So, love you guys. Peace always be with you. Sending out nothing but love to you guys. Always stay strong, shining, loving, and just allowing yourself to truly be yourself. And I support you, and I encourage you to, go for it. Just go for it. Life is too short. Life is definitely too short for you to not be yourself, and for you to not truly strive in this way, so that way you can truly get the most out of this physical experience. Sending out nothing but love. Peace always be with you. Namaste. Om. Amitabha.